Folks, we're back with former Congressman Pete Hoekstra and John Gizzi, our Washington, D.C. Newsmax correspondent. And gentlemen, Barack Obama today met with Vladimir Putin in France, and very interesting. Not an official meeting, wasn't scheduled supposedly, and in fact they went out of their way to avoid each other before and after the meeting, but we hear it was cordial. Congressman, you think it would have done our side any good?
I doubt it. I mean, I think this president in Russia has played all the circumstances in Ukraine almost perfectly. He's really not paid any price for it. He's gotten, we isolated him, so the result of the isolation is he gets a huge gas deal with China. I think Putin walks in very, very confident, knows exactly where he's going, what he wants to accomplish, what he wants to get done. And our president goes into that same meeting with a high degree of uncertainty as to exactly what he can do, what he can get done, and probably some uncertainty as to exactly where he's going. And
John, there was no commitment to meet certainly before this. Do you think that this was pre-planned in any way, or a spur of the moment, to the hilt?
Mr. Obama.
Mr. Gizzi's still around. Oh, go ahead. Start again, John. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt Congressman Hoekstra.
No, you didn't. No. You didn't interrupt. I couldn't hear you. So go ahead.
Okay. I don't believe it was planned by either president, but yet by a third force, French President Francois Hollande. Remember, he had his two dinners with President Obama and President Putin at separate times, but I think since he was stage managing the entire pirouette at the D-Day festivities and ceremony, it was not hard for him to have the two presidents, Obama and Putin, bump into one another. And I totally agree with Congressman Hoekstra that Vladimir Putin walks with new confidence. Let me add one other thing. In the very controversial elections for the European Parliament, allies of Mr. Putin, people who say hands off Crimea, hands off Ukraine, hands off Putin, now number a third of the seats in the 700-plus seat European Parliament. So anytime they vote for further sanctions against him or vote for condemnation, Mr. Putin can simply say the European community is not united at all behind this.
Yeah, and of course, look at France, Congressman. What they're selling to Russia in the way of submarines or ships. I don't even nuclear ships. I don't even remember exactly what the sale was. But how can the West succeed when they're not united?
Well, but you can look right here at home. It's not only the French that are selling. I mean, the only way that we get to the International Space Station is on a Russian rocket. The only way that we launch our spy satellites into space is on Russian rockets. It's amazing the vulnerability that Europe and the United States have put themselves in vis-a-vis Russia, all because they looked at Russia, they saw a new Russia, they saw a new Putin. Hillary Clinton famously pushed the reset button. The only folks that reset were Western Europe and the United States, and Russia never changed.
Absolutely. John, want to weigh in on this one?
Well, I tend to agree with that. There has been no change. We've heard about a reset. And I just think this administration owes former President Bush a sincere apology. What they rarely ever mention was that the relationship, the convivial relationship between Moscow and Washington did end when George W. Bush condemned Putin's actions in Georgia 6 years ago. And anyone who was around then will tell you that is the reason that this cold relationship began. But Mr. Bush stood his ground, even though he tried to reach out to Vladimir Putin early on.
Right.
Mr. Obama.
Now, John, I gotta stop you there because the clock has has taken over. And so John and Congressman Pete Hoekstra, have a great weekend, and we'll see you a little later. So I shouldn't be wishing you the great weekend yet, but we'll see you later. Thank you, guys. We're coming back,
Great,
folks.
thank you.
Don't go away, because in honor of the 70th anniversary of D-Day, and that's today, today's America's Moment pays tribute to the brave soldiers who fought, and even those, of course, who made the ultimate sacrifice on that fateful day.
By mid-1944, German military occupation engulfed the continent of Europe, while across the English Channel, an armada of men and equipment was preparing to take it back. On the 5th of June, Allied armies from the United States, Great Britain, and Canada joined those from Australia, Belgium, Czechoslovakia, France, Greece, New Zealand, Norway, Poland, and the Netherlands, and set sail for the Normandy coast. But they weren't all soldiers. At morning's first light, London bureau chief for the future NBC radio network, George Hicks, broadcasting live from the deck of an American ship, provided Americans back home with a front row seat.
Here we go again, another plane come over. Right over our port side. Ready to make an arc right over our bow now.
Supreme Allied Commander General Dwight D. Eisenhower also used that same venue, radio, to inspire both his troops and the nations they were being sent to set free.
The tide has turned. The free men of the world are marching together to victory.
The date was D-Day, June 6th, 1944. You're watching An American Moment on Newsmax TV.
What you don't know.